Hey all, listen, today's 3-minute hit is about Medexus Pharmaceutical. If you've already been watching my videos and my content about Medexus over the last 6 months, I don't know, you might want to even skip this one because you've probably heard this all before. But for those that haven't, for those that maybe it's gone in one ear out the other, Medexus Pharmaceutical, MDP, is the company. What is the TLDR on Medexus? Okay, Medexus is a medicine company. They license medications that are approved around the world, and what they do is they bring them to the North American market. Sometimes it requires an FDA approval process. Sometimes it's already approved. They're just taking an existing framework and applying it to their sales distribution network. That's the short version. The longer version is they have one property, treosulfan, which has had to go through an FDA approval process. It's been approved everywhere else, and it will be approved, I'm sure, in the US. But it's taken a little time. There's been a few T's to cross and dots to put on I's, and it's taken longer than the market would like. And every time it's been a delay, the market has cratered MDP in terms of market cap. So twice now, this thing halved as a result of one of its handful of medications being delayed on FDA approval. In the meantime, though, they've got a whole bunch of other medications that they're pounding out through their pipeline, generally regarding sort of orphan drugs, which is drugs that are about afflictions that aren't common. They're not, allergies or the common cold. They're diseases or afflictions that affect a very small number of people, and thus there's not a lot of money necessarily that goes into treatments. So the FDA is, generally speaking, really happy to get something in that fixes these things or sees to these things. Okay, that's the long story short. But the short story short is MDP got hammered twice. Big time. Earlier on, if you bought their stock a year and a half ago, it is down a lot from where it was back then. So if you're one of those people, I'm sorry. You've probably already taken a big loss on things, right? You've gone from $3.15 a year ago down to 90 cents a couple of months ago when we started talking about it. It's now about $1.95, $2. Good bounce back. But, long term, this thing was at $9.50, right? If you bought this stock 2 years ago, you were paying $8 for it. So today, further along, more revenue, more SKUs, and the treosulfan process is a year and a half further down the line, you get it for $2. You get 75% off what you would have paid a year ago. Now, for me, that's a great deal because I'm looking at this company and I say, this is a better company now than it was then. Then, its revenues were decent, but it was still making a loss. Now, its revenues, get this is a $33 million company market cap-wise in Canada, and it's generating $120 million US a year in revenue, right? It's generating, it's going at 3 to 4 times annual revenue as a share price. Like, that's nuts. That's nuts. So for me, this is almost an arbitrage. If you just bought this thing and you didn't even care about treosulfan, if you just sat on it and let it generate $100 million a year when it's only at a $33 million market cap Canadian, that's nuts, man. Like, that is going to correct itself at some point in time. Now, your risks are maybe treosulfan never gets approved. I think that's a very low chance. There's always a chance that it might get delayed again. But the company has decided, so let's just wipe that up from our memories. Treosulfan happens when treosulfan happens. We're not even going to get out there and start trying to get ahead of it, trying to predict it. We're going to say a year's time, we'll get a return on that one. But in the meantime, the things we already sell are worth $100 to $120 million US projected annually, even if nothing grows between now and then. They've just added another medicine to their list, so the revenues for that have just started coming in. This is a simple story to me. You take the market cap, which is the equivalent of 1/4 of revenue, and you stretch that out to what is normally the case, which is, let's say, 3 times annual revenue might be a decent way to calculate a market cap. So this company could be worth reasonably $300 million US. Right? Currently, it is not that, but it could be worth $300 million US and be reasonable considering what it makes in actual revenue. Now, profitability, it's close. If you're looking at risk, there's always a risk that somehow people start getting healthy and stop taking their medications. That seems unlikely. There is the potential for seasonal variations in medications. That is true. Excuse me. So you're looking at what's likely to be a pretty static, if not increasing, revenue over time that is already way above what it should be for a company of a market cap of this size. Now, in order for them to run out of money, they'd have to start blowing out the back door at a really big rate of speed. I can't see them do that. Chances are good that they might acquire some more medications. Chances are also good, and this is something that must be considered, at this share price, a larger company competing with these guys should really be interested in coming in and making a bid for them. It is a target. And having spoken to the CEO of the company recently, he has said that there's definitely been interest. There's also interest going the other way with him looking at other acquisition targets. So for mine, Medexus Pharmaceutical, it's really established itself along $2 as a strong base. It has been as low as 90 cents in the last couple of months, but since we've been really talking about it, since we've been making people aware of it, it's climbed from 90 cents up to $2.50, thereabouts, $2. So really should be something that you're keeping an eye on. Now, if you're looking to trade it, it's got a little volatility between $1.80 and $2.20. You can be a day trader if you want, but for mine, I'd just be looking to buy on dips because $1.80 seems to be like a good solid base here for it to grow on, and every time they put out new financials, it looks better and better and better. So Medexus Pharma, MDP, in your ticker symbols and in your hearts. It is another recommendation from us, and anyone who's been buying in over the last 3 months is up, over a double. So sorry if you got in a couple of years ago, that wasn't us. But right now you're getting real value for this thing, and if it does get back to where it was, well, I don't want to be too promotional, but holy shit balls, that'd be something where you'd really want to be holding on tight and riding the hell out of that ball.